History of all of the clone troopers commissioned by the DNA of Jango Fett, there have only been a select few that have ever rebelled against their programming as a clone, and even fewer that have done so violently and without warning. In the most extreme of circumstances, a clone trooper would desert the Grand Army of the Republic, but it was exceptionally rare for one to become violent, and rare for them to want to desert in the first place. Again though, they typically did not turn on their brothers. There was one clone trooper though, from an early batch of the clones developed on Kamino that was able to rebel from the programming ingrained in them by the Kaminoan cloners, and was actually able to break his own programming and conditioning. This clone grew to believe that the clone troopers were actually slaves to the Republic and the Jedi Order, and refused to follow the commands of one of the Mandalorian trainers in charge of training the troopers. This clone did not want to follow a life of servitude with no greater purpose. The clone trooper's name was Caddock. Caddock was an exceptionally intelligent and strong clone trooper, but was somewhat unhinged. Even from the beginning, Caddock grew a special rivalry with one of his Mandalorian trainers, as he was privileged enough to be trained by a Mandalorian because he belonged to an early batch of troopers. This rivalry went on for some time, as the trainer, as well as the clone, grew to despise one another. The two of them eventually came to blows, and the clone was imprisoned on Kamino. This was exceptionally rare, and because it had grown violent so quickly, instead of killing the clone trooper Caddock outright, the Kaminoans wanted to study him, to understand exactly what had gone wrong. For him to turn so violent so quickly couldn't have been possible, especially due to the behavioral modifications that the Kaminoans had made to the Fett DNA. The Kaminoans desired to study the failed trooper, as they could not determine exactly how or why he had rebelled so intensely. While incarcerated, Caddock exercised furiously, and had his self-given name tattooed repeatedly across his body. In an effort to differentiate himself from the other clones who looked like him, Caddock deliberately scarred his face, and kept his head shaved bare. When the Kaminoan tests were completed, rumors told that Caddock had been put to death, while other rumors insisted that he had escaped his captors and fled the planet of Kamino. Caddock's insanity grew while confined within his cell on Kamino, and would not see the battlefield as a trooper of the Republic, never making it past basic training. However, the rumors were true, and Caddock did actually manage to escape his cell and the entire planet of Kamino during a separatist invasion. It was later revealed that Caddock had joined with the Separatists and had grown even more insane, refusing to believe that he was just a clone, and believed himself as something more, something meant to be greater. Caddock would survive through all of the Clone Wars conflict, and even the early days of the Galactic Empire, where he would attempt to sway more clones to his side, believing that the clones could take over and create a new society that was better than any before it. A delusion of grandeur. Again though, it was clear that Caddock had gone completely insane. During one last battle, Caddock was killed by a clone trooper named Hawk, who refused to join him. Hawk instead called the stormtroopers that executed Caddock on sight. But that was the story of the failed clone trooper Caddock, one of the few outright insane and deadly clone troopers that started out seemingly normal. Again, something exceptionally rare. Caddock is one of the few clone troopers that actually had to be detained by the Kaminoans, as he was deemed just that dangerous. But what are your thoughts on the clone trooper Caddock? And had you heard about this trooper before this video? As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.